Hello everyone and welcome to another Stellaris video. Today I'm pretty excited to show you guys what is a more normal Stellaris build. In the past few videos I've been trying to break the game and do funny things, but this is just a standard strong build that you could play for like a year 30 PvP game or just in your standard single player games to have fun and dominate even Grand Admiral AIs. And this build is once again a Shroud Forge based build, except we're using more standard traits in order to maximize our year 30 power spike with rapid replicator, organic retrofitting, and constructo bot in order to make for an extremely strong build. Here we have over 2000 tech, almost 2500 now at just year 39. We're easily maintaining almost 500 naval capacity worth of ships. And on top of that, we have a solid economy that will continue to grow as we have a industrial world producing a solid amount of alloys, a food world producing thousands of food for our bioships, and then enough basic economy to keep this all running without needing a single vassal, and already far outscaling even Grand Admiral AIs of most kinds. So, how does this build work, and what is it? Well, it is once again the Shroud Forged origin, and we're just going to go ahead and start a new game with it and do a full year 30 playthrough to show you guys how to scale up. And I would say this build is not particularly special in any way. It doesn't use any techs that haven't been shown in my past videos. It uses a Shroud Forge leader or a Shroud Shaper leader, and it's also nice because it's just stalled and it's relatively easy to play. And it will work in basically every galaxy, as I would say it's pretty reliable and only needs a moderate amount of planets. I would say 5 is all this build needs. So any extra planets you get on top of that are just very, very nice. In addition to the fact that it has a very high chance of helping you obtain 3 more guaranteed planets as well, thanks to the situations that you get from this origin. So, how does it work? The first thing we want to do when we start a game is try to find the 3 lab buildings. If you're not lucky enough to get them, that's fine. Just take something that gives basic resources and then move on from that. And we're also going to start with buying a good chunk of minerals. And also for the first situation, we're going to select Help Guide Us, as this will give us the fastest situation possible, which is what we're looking for. In addition, we're going to go on Isolationist, and we're going to leave the rest of our economy as is, and not make any modifications yet. Essentially, the way we want to play this build is it's very, very nice because it is a simultaneous tech and ascension rush. With this build, you can ascend after no ascension perks, essentially, so you can ascend whenever you feel like. As well, not whenever you feel like, but whenever the situation finishes, which is usually like year 11 or 12 or something like that. I can't remember exactly. And then, because that you can ascend automatically, you can focus your entire economy into tech early game. As you can see, we're already making 100 tech, and this will increase rapidly as the game goes on. With that in mind, another thing we want to do is as soon as you start a city district on your capital, you want to go ahead and change your purchasing to 40 energy credits, and then we can use these energy credits to fix up this planet and build a colony ship. So there's a few things we need to do. We need to clear this sprawling sums blocker, which is just a nice injection of pops, and then on top of that we can go ahead and build a colony ship as soon as we can afford it, because as you can see, we're immediately scanning for our guarantees, and we're going to take them as soon as possible. Essentially, the way you want to run your first colonies is you want your first colony to be dedicated to energy credits. This planet is pretty terrible for that, given it only has 2 energy districts, except you can easily expand this with technology, so it's not a huge deal. The second planet you kind of just want to use for pop growth and minerals, and then a 4th and 5th planet as you get them would be tech and food respectively. With food, you really want to get food on your largest possible planet, because food is going to be probably the most scarce resource for building ships as you go through the game. Another thing I should mention about this build is while the full build can be found in the build document in the description as usual, it is very important you remember to take bioships, as bioships will simply give you a stronger year 30 power spike than alloy ships can offer. However, if you're willing to play with them, and honestly, at least if I was playing in single player, I would prefer to play with them. Alloy ships, I believe, do eventually feel better to play with, as they don't require a food planet, which is a little bit awkward for a machine empire where you just kind of have a food planet and it doesn't make that much food. Like a size, I believe 18 planet will probably end up at around 2,000 to 3,000 food production. And maybe when you start to get Fallen Empire technologies, that'll go up to like 6 to 10,000 food, which is a somewhat limiting factor, which is crazy to say, but yeah, 6 to 10,000 food is not a lot when you're trying to stack bioship upkeep, which can get pretty crazy as you get into thousands of naval capacity. However, let's not worry about that right now, and instead focus on our homeworld here, where we're gonna, of course, clear the sprawling slums, as I said, to get a few more pops, and then after that, we're gonna remove this military mixed industry. This mixed industry, as you can probably tell, is draining an enormous amount of our minerals and such like that. So we actually want to get rid of it in exchange for a research district. I have generally been liking just the plain research enclave without hyper-focusing into any specific research, but if you're playing with alloy ships instead of bioships, I would recommend a engineering-specific enclave, because this origin gives us access to this very cool building, the Shroud Observation Tower. And the Shroud Observation Tower produces more physics and society research than engineering. And engineering is also, generally speaking, one of the most lacking resources when you play with standard alloy ships. So yeah, you're going to have to go ahead and, at least in my recommendation, stick with an engineering enclave to catch up your engineering research. But we actually want more society and physics when we're playing with bioships, as maulers can benefit quite a lot from society tech and physics tech as well. I mean, it would be nice to divert some of the physics tech to balance it out between physics and engineering, but overall, I would say it's not a very big deal. And both tech types are very valuable. Now, I will say here, we don't get particularly lucky in the sense that I don't see any other planets in our starting area, which is a bit of a shame. That means it could be a little bit of a hassle to try to find any extra planets, as we do want to start colonizing planets as soon as we can with this build, because we really need to expand wide in every way possible. And by the way, for this situation, I always just universally select the option that makes the situation go faster. I'm not sure if that is the best way to deal with this situation currently, but the patch is so new, right? It's only been out for like 10 days or something like that. Probably not even that. It's really hard to say what's best while also releasing new content all the time for you guys. So if you guys know what is the absolute best options for the situation, please leave it down in the comments, as it could be very helpful for others, and we can all learn from it. So thanks a lot for that. Anyhow, let's also just go ahead and colonize Cirrus, and also probably start our second colony ship as soon as we can afford it. I guess I'll just purchase 100 food to start that up as quick as we can. And also, perfect, prefabricated buildings will also be very, very helpful for our continued success here. One other thing to look out for is when you do find a dig site, when you're playing this build, you want to go dig it right away. We're oddly enough stuck waiting for Unity so they can hire a second science ship leader, which is pretty funny. But yeah, the reason we want to do that is on any Gestalt build, not just this one, you get access to a very cool decision on your planet. And here it is, incorporate artifact relays. And what it does is, for every coordinator drone, which I think we should have a few, right, 160, or for every 100, you get 1% menial drone output and 2 stability, which are both nice benefits that generally increase the output efficiency on your capital, which is really nice. And for your leaders, of course, feedback loops are essentially the same thing. Extra stability and amenities create a positive feedback loop for your extra resource production due to stability, which I think it gets up to like 30%. So it's definitely quite significant, as 30% is definitely not an amount you want to ignore. And as your first, few techs finish up as well, and if you were lucky enough to get something like the 3 labs, they should be starting to finish up now, and you can start to queue them on your capital as well as, ooh, perfect, a size 20 world and a size 17. Amazing. That is really lucky. One thing to mention, right, is when you're playing robots, a hidden benefit, or I guess it's not really hidden, it's kind of well known at this point, is that uh, you can colonize most sorts of planets, tomb worlds, regular worlds, all three different types of planets. For example, we can already go to our species templates and just create a template for one of each habitability type. It doesn't like really matter, you know what I mean? So go ahead and create a template of each habitability type, and all of a sudden, no matter what planet you run into, you can take it right away, which is just another benefit that robots have that unfortunately bio does not. So we're really stacking on the pain for bio empires here, as you know, machines can be psionic now, bio can also be psionic, but it doesn't really benefit from psionic any more than the Shroud Forged origin does. um, so yeah, RIP bio, RIP teachers, I guess. There's still some funny builds that I'm sure teachers can run that uh, Shroudforge can't, but I've definitely been probably enjoying Shroudforge the most out of any of the new origins, because it just feels like kind of what I would say Rogue Servitor used to be with Prosperous Unification Rogue Servitor, where it just used to have this crazy strong economy early game, and you could rush tech really hard relative to what we thought was a good tech rush back then, and then scale up with a huge amount of fleets and alloys for year 30, which is kind of what Shroudforge can do now. Um, as I think every single good build in Stellaris these days kind of must do a Unity rush, or at least have a way of ascending quickly, because anything that can't ascend quickly gets outscaled so fast, as your pops don't have the same efficiency or assembly that other things do. And I would say one kind of savior to this build is assembly speed now scales with pop efficiency. Well, it has for a while, I believe. But what that means is once you get your capital building upgraded, you get like 15, 16 to 20 assembly on your capital just from just without any other assembly traits other than rapid replicator, which is really, really powerful, right? Like, I guess our species also has mass produced on it, but like overall, that means your pops roughly keep up with how fast you can build buildings. For every building you build, or district, the pops will fill them up about in the time it takes to build that district, which is kind of the exact balance you want, right? It's why Biomorphosis is so strong, and probably the most played build in Stellaris still is still Bioascension, because you can either use food for ships and try to rush something like Behemoth Fury, or just regular bioships, because you don't need that many alloys and you just need to make a bunch of food, which is really not hard with anglers. And I have covered Bio Ascension builds in the past, but I'm a bit rusty on them now at this point, I have to say, so I will cover them again, because quite a bit has changed since then. Especially I've learned quite a lot myself since I made those videos, and I could definitely do them better now. Anyhow, also, as you can see, we're just kind of trying to max out tech on this planet as fast as possible, which involves building the dynamic centers and then just building nexus districts as well. Once you start to get low on consumer goods, you want to queue up a consumer goods building. So that's probably about here, and then after that you'll also want to queue up an alloy foundry on your capital, and that's just to keep the industrial resources kind of satisfied for just long enough before you get like real versions of those planets online. And yeah, I think also we can still afford a colony ship, thankfully. So we can continue to work towards that as our scanner gets closer and closer to these two planets, which can make the perfect 5-planet core, which I was talking about, which kind of this build really wants. And essentially those 5 planets breakdown is naval capacity, food, energy, and technology, and alloys. And minerals, you don't actually need very many minerals, as once you take catalytic processing, it turns food into alloys instead of minerals, and it does so at a more efficient rate. So it really kind of invalidates the importance of minerals, I would say. And you can get enough minerals from like things like arc furnaces, which is why we did start on Sol, just in case we get arc furnaces. And those can also help us quite a bit there. And yeah, let's also just go ahead and continue to expand our empire whenever we get the chance. And yeah, this can be this would be a nicer energy planet. But this planet is kind of bad at everything except for food. You kind of usually don't want your first colony to be a food planet, but I think we're just going to have to do that here. And what we're going to do to compensate is, I guess, just um, and if you must do this. So it's probably build an energy district on our capital to hold us over, or we could build an energy district on this uh, planet as well. But overall, it could be a little tough. So let's just go ahead and build one on our capital. It does suck a little bit because it's nice to spread out your buildings between two different planets. But if we build food in the early game, it's something that is just generally not really needed. And this is probably one of the better food planets. I guess this could also be a good alloy planet. Um, yeah, this looks like a much better energy planet, as it won't be terrible to expand. And then yeah, you usually want the largest planet to be your food planet, as I would say food is definitely the resource you're going to struggle with the most as you scale into the mid game. And even when you like conquer Grand Admiral no scaling AIs these days and you subjugate them, they don't give you a crazy amount from their subjugation because they're just so weak compared to you. Like they might give you 100 food, 200 minerals, and 200 energy, which is nice. But like your planets are like making 1,000 at that point each. Um, which is definitely kind of insane. I think the deflation of the importance of basic resources is really insane in modern Stellaris. Anyhow, it's still very fun, I guess, now that those things are less of a problem than they used to be, and a bit exponential scaling as well, which is always funny to look at, I guess. Also, we can go ahead and just migrate a few pops over here to get the replicators maxed out. And then I guess we can just build a drone storage since we have a lot of spare resources here. And I guess we can even build a generator district just to hold over our energy credits in the meantime, as it's going to get really bad really soon, as we were delayed one tack for field modulation. Um, and yeah, the energy credits is definitely going to be running on fumes very soon. So let's just go ahead and make sure that doesn't get too bad. And then yeah, as you can see, we're also pushing like 300 tech out at like what is this, year 6, which is not bad at all, and we haven't even been focusing very much on it, as um, as you know, we haven't really had the opportunity to. So another thing we can do at this point is probably turn on shroud observation, and simply what this is going to do is give us a 25% output bonus to like the few shroud observation tower workers we have in exchange for one Zero, and we've built up a decent supply of Zero that is definitely enough to finish this situation now. So let's go ahead and do that. I'd say one thing we've been pretty unlucky on is the minerals and energy credits from our space has been really bad. Sometimes you get like a system with like 12 minerals and 10 energy credits here or there, and it really adds up into like making for a self-sufficient planet almost right away, which is something that is really nice, but we obviously were not lucky enough to get here. So instead, we're going to have to work with what we got, and that is perfectly fine. No problems there, I guess. And perfect. Ooh, we get building speed and mineral production. Both of these are huge. We're going to take building speed, to be honest, as building speed will result in mineral production if we're patient enough. And yeah, we're really having problems with our energy credits at this point, right? So that's why I really need this energy district to come online, and this one. I guess this one will come online first, right? So just have to wait for that and hope we don't go negative in the meantime. As we turned off our alloys, also, we can't use star bases for energy. One thing I definitely should have done is build a hydroponics on my capital, as that will give us a little bit of extra food that we can sell or like neglect other farmer jobs elsewhere in our empire to make that effective, I guess. Okay, more food. That's not a bad tech to get. And yes, we get another system here with basically no outputs, which is really sad. This system is probably really good. I wonder if I can grab it before the AI here. So let's go ahead and survey this system, as there's a lot of molten worlds here, so this system could have like 15 minerals in it, if we can even get it before the AI. And looks like we have to sell something for energy as well. Hopefully I managed to get that in time. And yeah, over here, let's just focus these energy drones and also set this as an energy planet for now. And then on our new world here, I think I always like to start with a machine assembly plant at the beginning. Just get more pops rolling is always a positive thing. And I think what I want to do here is make this into a long-term energy planet, right? As it is decently sized and has a lot of energy districts. Something like this can either be used for alloys or naval capacity. And then in addition, the largest planet here, the size 20 Savannah, this can be a great food world. And oh my gosh, we need we need another science ship. Oh, it's not a big deal. We're not going to build out the food planet right away. We usually build out the food planet like at around year 16 to 17, as that is when your economy starts to get strong enough to really focus on more than 3 planets at the same time. So yeah, in the meantime, I guess we'll just take things slow, build a new science ship, and send him over to deal with that as soon as we can. So yeah, energy subsidies are going to be nice. We're still quite a whiles away from mineral subsidies, though, which could be a problem if we waited too long on it. But yeah, let's just send this over and research anomalies in system, and also send a new ship out to colonize this last planet here, which is quite nice. And as you can see, this generator district on our capital is also going to come in absolutely clutch here and get our energy credits positive just as it's getting bad. And oh yeah, perfect. This is why it's nice to have a dig site, because now we can incorporate what words am I saying? Incorporate artifact relays, and as you can see, that's a solid boost to our basic economy that we otherwise wouldn't have had access to. And we can also, I guess in one turn, move over a few extra replicator drones so that they can start doing something over here. And I think I'm going to go like all out on developing this planet, so that means generator support, generator zone, and then a generator plant, and all those things, all the above, because why not? Another feedback loop there is nice too as well. And once we're done finding the voice, we can also start what's the one for pop efficiency called again? Boop, I'm forgetting the name. It's the one you get from prosperity. I swear, okay, I'm just gonna look at it. Favorite society, right. I don't know why I'm so bad at the names of things. Just a funny quirk of my being, I guess. And there we go. More tech. And basically, as soon as that's done, you want to turn on capacity subsidies. And that will immediately boost up our energy credits, I believe. I believe it didn't refresh for this cycle, so we'll get it next time. But that should boost us up to a much more sustainable level. And yeah, we can also build the energy creation zone now as well, and finish off our tradition tree. And I like to go executive vigor almost every time, as the basic economy can be a big struggle with this. Speaking of struggling with basic economy, this is also usually when I want to change over from balanced production to manufacturing focus, because we finally have, I'd say, good enough basic economy so that we can focus on our our advanced drone output instead of our basic drone output, and yeah, get all the benefits of that, which is once again really, really nice. So as I mentioned before, right, you don't want to go too crazy on tech early, but at this point now we can finally start to focus on it pretty good now. I mean, 300 is plenty for year 10 if you're really focusing on tech, and you have better basic economy, which I have had in the past. You can be like, I was at 450 tech here on one of my test runs, but yeah, I guess I'm a couple city districts behind this time. Probably also a little bit as I'm talking so much, I'm distracting myself a little bit, and did not get as lucky with the tech rolls, to be honest, on this run. So anyhow, I think I want another civilian ship now, but oh, we're out of consumer goods. Okay, here's what we're gonna do: is we're gonna drop all that food and just buy some consumer goods, and then build a colony ship. And now we're lacking energy. Of course we are. So let's also buy up that energy. And now we're lacking food. I did not play this very well. We'll just wait a little bit, and research those anomalies and just let that finish up. I guess that was pretty embarrassing. There's 100 maintenance drones here, which is definitely not that efficient, but they should auto migrate to districts, places where we are building districts. And to be honest, in the meantime, I could just build a mining district here and have them mine a little bit. As you definitely need to run a couple mining districts at least to keep things going, and this system didn't even have a significant amount of minerals. Instead, it had some other funny deposits. It has a living metal deposit, which is cool, but only 2 minerals, which is unfortunate because it had so many molten worlds and only 2 minerals. Unlucky. Anyhow, let's build this energy grid here. Now, that is a planet that could be a mineral planet, but we don't need a mineral planet, so funny how that works. And now all we need is 100 food. Let's just go ahead and buy that. And there we go. That is basically our 5 planets for this. What are we getting now? We are getting space amoeba mothers chasing our science ship out. Okay, I guess that's fine. That system is cool and all, but we really didn't need it, to be honest. So yeah, I guess we can give up on that and just start surveying other systems, and hopefully we'll find some better mineral deposits and stuff. And do check this out as well. You gotta have 100% crime. Yeah, that's just a result of the negative effects of going max speed on this situation. And sometimes you will get not a game-ending crime event, but a very crippling crime event on your capital. And if that happens, all I can say is unlucky. There's only one really bad one, I think, which is like minus 20 stability. That one is a bit of a killer. Everything else than that, there's even one that gives 15% devastation, but it's not that bad in the sense that devastation recovers relatively quickly and has acceptable downsides, I guess. And yeah, I guess we're just going to continue to replace basic district zones with more Nexus drones for more tech at this point, as our basic resources should be coming online now. And we can turn this into a mineral world, which is really nice. Build even a mineral extraction. I've just realized this world exactly has poor quality minerals. I already forgot that, but whatever, minus 25%. It's not a huge multiplier when you consider how many positive multipliers you can put on through other means. It just kind of sucks that I didn't notice that at the time when I set that up. So not a huge deal, just a little inefficient for sure. A little inefficient for sure. Anyhow, we get more feedback loops here, which is very nice as well. And very soon we can finally start Favorite Society, which will help us out a lot. And I believe, do I want to cancel this tech to do this quickly? Colonial centralization can be a pain to roll, so I'm actually not going to cancel it to start psionic theory immediately, although it probably could be argued, or not even argued, it probably is correct to start psionic theory right away. But yeah, I'm honestly not sure about that either, so let me know if you think that's the correct move right there. Anyhow, instead, we're just going to focus on developing our new planets as we get them. And perfect. Now we select Favorite Society, and this will give us another nice boost to our economy. As you can see, we're up to 425 tech, stable basic resources, although definitely could be better at this point, especially the mineral situation, which I unfortunately messed up. But that is honestly fine. We can even build a mineral support here, giving us the plus 20% back from this minus 25%, which is definitely funny. And we can turn this into an energy planet as well, and start to build up the support districts to get that more efficient. Yeah, I guess removing some energy support zones from my capital was not a good idea, as we're definitely starting to struggle on energy in that department a little bit now. But yeah, I guess we can just continue to develop, and we shall be fine. 450 tech now, very nice. And very, very soon, we'll be able to start our Psionic Ascension. Just 2 months. Yeah. Well, I would say we're in a little bit of a lull right now. Maybe I should be making first contact with these AIs, right? At least figure out how strong they are relative to me, and also, they should be their capital probably is relatively close, which is nice because if I want to do conquest later, that's that, and I can also probably just try to make good relations with them until simulated year 30, and then just go and tributize them. I would say, funnily enough, Grand Admiral AIs are relatively good approximations for how strong a typical medium skill PvP player is at year 30. Oops, I went negative on consumer goods. That is not good. Okay, here's what I should do about that is on one of these random planets, just build a civilian industries. In the meantime, I think Do I want to cut that? No, not really. I think the play here is to sell this, sell some of those, and just buy like 250, which will hold us out until that new building is done. Okay, yeah, that was a bit embarrassing. Oops, I just did not notice that at all. That's honestly not a big deal, and we do get the planetary processor though, which I think, yeah, this gives us 200 more replicator jobs, which is huge. It's one of the reasons you don't really want to skip colonial centralization tech, as 200 replicators is like a 40% increase to the pop assembly speed on our capital, and 40% more pops for a psionic build is extremely valuable, as pops are very hard to come by. Very, very hard to come by for psionic builds, so that is, of course, fantastic. And we can also turn on farming and mining subsidies now that we have them. We've probably had them for a while and could have turned them on for a while, but I was not playing optimally, as you can see. There's a lot of room for improvement, but ooh, ship construction focus is nice. Yeah, but those are always amazing as well. And we do get arc furnaces and gas refineries. This is a tough call. Arc furnaces this early can probably pay off pretty quickly, so we're going to go ahead and take arc furnaces. If you don't roll arc furnaces this early, it's not a big deal. You don't like need arc furnaces to play a build like this. So they cost a lot of energy to upkeep as well, so there is trade-offs as well. So yeah, don't be too sad. And this is a very lucky arc furnace roll though, I have to say. And yeah, that leaves us with only 7 months until the observatory is ready. Or not the observatory, what am I saying? Until the Psi core is probably ready. And once you get Psi cores, the Unity really explodes in efficiency, so you don't have to worry about Unity as a something to produce also, which is very, very nice. And we can also probably start to focus some of our techs on things that we're going to want on our ships. And in case you don't know what the plan is for ships, every time you play bioships, the plan is essentially always Maulers, and specifically Elder Maulers, but you want to grow them from juvenile Maulers because that way they're the cheapest, and they're just essentially broken. You want to use the combat mandible ones. I don't mind like picket computers with these sentinel barbs, but I've also seen people use like something like plasma and kinetic on the regular slots, on the swarm slots, which also works. I'm genuinely not 100% sure what the best Mauler computers are, but I typically find that at least against AIs, which is what most players will end up playing against, they just run through everything and it's not close. Like, I would love to say, oh, this ship design is the best, and I'm sure something there is the best, but you're so like whenever you use them, it's so far from necessary to even use the best tech for them that like it's hard to learn what is the best because they just run through absolutely everything, and it's really amazing. So anyhow, as I mentioned, our largest planet will be dedicated to food, and we'll essentially want to develop this planet full time once we gain access to it, as food is definitely just one of the resources that is the hardest to come by in this meta. And yeah, also don't feel too bad. Like, this isn't going to be a long-term mineral world. We're only going to be using this planet for minerals, which is it's only producing 6 minerals right now, which is quite funny. But 300. Oh wait. Oh right, because there's artisan drones that are using minerals. I was like, no way, it's only producing 6 minerals with 300 jobs. Like minus 25% is not that bad. And yeah, looks like minus 25 was indeed not that bad. And yeah, once again, oh, the Zoni Legacy. So yeah, this is what I was talking about earlier, and you get kind of 3 planets. I would refrain from calling them guaranteed because sometimes they spawn in really funny orientations relative to your hyperlane, so you can't gain access to them at all. But this kind of also guarantees that you'll end up with at least 5 planets. If you're willing to jump around or you spawn on a sparse enough galaxy, which is a little bit unusual from, I would say, many builds. So yeah, we can use these additional planets just for pop growth speed, which is just nice, you know. And yeah, also once you have Psi core, should be pretty self-explanatory, but you just want to put a Psi core on every planet. There is no better job essentially when you're playing psionics. So yeah, a Psi core everywhere, extra pop efficiency, and all that stuff is just always worth it. And I'm even gonna sell some resources to afford them faster so I can place them down everywhere, which is really, really nice. And yeah, 85 minerals at this point is definitely looking a little bit sus. Like, it's always good to be like, I don't know, 120, 130 minerals just unfortunately got no minerals from space, right? It's just our capital and nothing. And hopefully that can change a little bit, but the arc finish should help too, right? Because we can probably start that right away, and even though that'll put a big dent in our energy credits early on, our energy credit situation should get quite a bit better very, very soon as we start to build this second support district, and also start to move some pops over to this planet where our tech drones are going to be very, very efficient. Now, I'm kind of curious, right? Right now we have 400 tech drones, so it's over 20 energy credits per 100 drones already, and this is only going to get better once we get the Psi Core, once we get the generator support, right? So that is looking fantastic. And at this point, we just also want to start looking for Mauler techs, as we ideally want to start building Maulers in the early 20s, like 23, 24 kind of range. I would say that's not always realistic, as sometimes you can't find Elder Mauler tech by then, and more often than not, you can't find. You just don't have the economy for it. So yeah, it's like very optimistic to want to start building them by then and allowing them to grow. But then you also end up paying upkeep, so it's kind of at least for me, I'm not exactly sure when the fully optimal time to start building a fleet is. But as long as you have one, like I'd say, like if you have 10k at year 30, you're not doing terrible. If you have 20k at year 30, you're doing amazing. And like if you have 20k at year 30, that means you're probably well on track for 75 to 100k by year 40, which I would say is very difficult for like 95% of Stellaris builds to keep up with. I'm sure there are some that definitely can't. I'm sure Virtual could have a ridiculous amount more than that, right? But you're not going to be playing Virtual in 95% of competitive Stellaris multiplayer lobbies, where I don't think that I know of any lobbies where a build like this one is currently banned. So, yeah, you're really free to go have a lot of fun with this build for now. Also, our basic economy is brutal. Look at this energy situation. Not good. Yeah, I hate that the game loves prioritizing logistics drones before you have any efficiency modifiers for logistics drones, as they are really terribly inefficient in the early game. And I also hate that you can only prioritize 2 jobs. This means you can't get replicators and telepaths at the same time, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, we're going to need to do this to keep our basic economy afloat, which is fine. Material goods. You know, I still, to this day, do not know which direction each option moves things in the Shroud. Every time I think I'm starting to figure it out, there's just more situations that I haven't seen before, and I don't want to read the entire thing in detail to try to decipher which way it's going to move me. So I just pick randomly, and wherever I end up is whatever I go for. Since we're going to be forging our own path in the Shroud anyway, it's honestly not a huge deal. And as I mentioned before, this is going to be our food planet, so we just want to start building districts on it, as districts on this planet are going to be the most in-demand thing very, very soon into the game. And you may have also noticed at this point that our economy is in a trough, right? And this is kind of just how this build feels. This is when the economy feels the worst, as you're kind of overextended compared to the number of pops you have in a lot of ways. Like, oh, we don't get 200 replicators from the capital. I think it's the next tier of capital building then that gives 200 replicators. Okay, well, in order to find the first tier of capital building, you need colonial centralization first, right? So, and what did we get? Yeah, this is the worst possible event. Drone interference, absolutely terrible. Even with artifact relays on, you can see that our stability is in the bin, right? So what we need to do here is you need to build an uplink node, and you also need to start selling off certain parts of your basic economy, or stopping to buy energy credits and fixing the problem elsewhere. And yeah, this really sucks, because yeah, it just tanks our stability. Look at that. Minus 30% is like minus 20% output from jobs as well. So pretty brutal all around, I must say. And having the only source of minerals that we have being this planet here is also just incredibly brutal. And once again, you have to go manually deprioritize logistics drones, at least in the early game, until you can get a better source of them early. And yeah, as you can see, you also have to just continuously sell off parts of your economy to keep the trade under control in the early game, which is probably my least favorite part about playing just alt builds. But that problem resolves itself later on pretty quickly. And another thing that I haven't been doing, which I really should, is starports are a fantastic source of economy in the early game. Except what I'm doing now is a little bit too late because I'm gonna like build them into star bases for producing resources and then instantly turn them into for shipyards, right? So it's not really worth it at this point. It's a little too late, but that's what I should have been doing with my alloys every time I had 200 a little bit earlier in the game. Um, yeah, like once again, like there's so much nuance to playing these builds. There's a lot of room for improvement altogether. So yeah, definitely don't take this build as like the gospel or very optimally played at all. And with more runs and more practice, and without getting this negative 20% or negative 30%, my bad, drone interference, yeah, it could be a lot better. Like this is gonna put our tech quite far behind, and it will probably be not a struggle, but we'll probably not be looking at a particularly strong year 30, although we'll be able to scale anyway because the build is good. But yeah, definitely it puts a bit of a thorn in my side and a bit of a wrench to our plans, but not a huge deal. Also, as you can see, the uplink node is a good way to get some extra stability. And essentially, the interaction that's happening here is just to incorporate artifact relays decision with extra coordinators on the planet will give you a little bit of extra chunk of stability, which is pretty important when you're around 50% because otherwise your stability is terrible. Um, anyhow, we're also just going to continue to develop this this agriculture planet. I almost said aquaculture planet because I've been playing a lot of a lot of bioships and a lot of bio empires lately. So aquacultures are of course fantastic for anglers. I love anglers, by the way. Anglers is like my favorite bio trait right now. It is amazing. And yeah, we're down to 54 minerals per month. This is about as bad as it's gonna get, by the way. Uh, Let meditation calm our minds. I really want to go towards the composer at this point because I'm ready like towards the bottom quadrant. So I hope this. Okay, yeah, that moved in the right direction. So as long as we move towards the composer now, we're doing good. We get chemical plants there, which is good. And the world is bleeding, and we finally can get some resources from star bases, guys. Yay! Only now, and you can build a hydroponics bay, I guess, and some solar panel networks. As you can see, we now have a basic economy, right? So what we can do now is once we start to get some food, we can get that arc furnace going, right? Because we've had that arc furnace tech for quite a while, but haven't been able to build it, or because we haven't had the energy credits to support it if we did build it. But now we can definitely build it, and it'll definitely help this pretty pitiful mineral situation as well. Yeah, we can also go ahead and finish that up. I like to just take tech ascendancy here. And what I'm immediately going to do is go put our research focus into statecraft. And the reason I pick statecraft is the tier 2 government building, so what you need to get the extra 200 replicator jobs in your capital, is a statecraft technology. The first one is New Worlds, so colonial centralization is New Worlds, and then +1 civic and upgraded government building, I forget what it's called, is statecraft. So a little bit confusing, but yeah, we can go ahead and get an extra chance of rolling it there. And treat and study the afflicted there. I think that's always the best option. And now we also get the Great Awakening, so I believe that means once the situation is done, we can start delving in the Shroud and dealing with that funny stuff. I think here I want another Shroud Observation Tower too. Maybe not. Let's go ahead and actually just build another district instead. Yes, it feels crazy deleting a mineral district when we're already this down bad on minerals, but trust the process, guys. What do I want to do here? I really, really want some more food. Let's delete some of these and just buy some food. Yeah, I'll buy some food and then start this arc furnace because it's been long enough. We've had the tech for like probably like 5 years. Might as well start benefiting from it. And I guess we'll take battle simulators there as well. And we're about to run out of trade again. Let's sell something just in time. Okay. Yeah, this trade is like so annoying. It's definitely so annoying, but it is what it is. Whenever you get gases tech, always take it. Gases are so frustrating whenever you end up in a situation where you don't have enough of them. Probably one of the worst feelings in Stellaris, to be honest. And yeah, we can also just continue. This planet has so many blockers. Wow. And do I have? I don't have Psycores on these planets. Yeah, we can't afford the Psycore. That makes sense. Uh, in the meantime, however, go ahead and take that. Go ahead and send a colony ship over here. Well, we'll send a colony ship as soon as we have enough food. Upgrade our Cypros to claim these disruptions. I really don't want to lose 10% society research, but I suspect that is the option that will move us closer to the bottom. Nope, that actually moved us closer to the cradle, but that's fine. The cradle is really annoying to gain attunement with also, so yeah, we could use attunement with them, and it's not the end of the world. Yeah, I need minerals so badly. This is the no minerals in space experience, I guess. Yeah, this is one of the worst mineral from space experiences I've ever had. But don't you worry, guys. This will be resolved very soon, as we're going to be exchanging our food upkeep, or our mineral upkeep with food, as soon as we hit year 20, right? So, what do we want here? Probably research supply depot is not a bad idea, and our tech is so bad, I'll say, for this stage of the game. But it's going to get better. It's going to get better, and it still should be more than enough to find Elder Maulers, even though we're not prioritizing that kind of tech right now. Let's go ahead and take that, as that's a very nice tech to hit. Is afterburners or crystals here? Probably crystals. Don't want to ignore that for too long. And it is only year 19, right? So this probably means we're going to start building ships at like year 26 or 7, which is, I would say, definitely a little bit late into the game. But it's definitely not a deal breaker. It's not going to be a huge problem, and this is also why I wanted to build the arc furnace, as now we can get minerals from food, although once again our food is lacking. However, that's going to be improving very, very quickly. And we get the animator of clay as well, which is cool. I mean, you get the animator of clay no matter what. Let's delve into the shroud, and we do indeed get to communicate with the composer first, which is not bad. And yeah, at this point, we just need to basically make sure this is the core planet, which is quite funny, right? This is the planet we need to make sure that we're upgrading at all times. We can sell other resources for it. We can sell consumer goods. Just make sure this planet stays upgrading, as we're going to need so much food later on. Also, I should have built the Psycore first, so let's go ahead and do that. That I don't think you'll ever regret building up your food planet a little bit earlier than it feels like you can. Also, for your next tradition, supremacy is almost certainly the best if you're going for a military rush, and if you're playing to scale, you would probably want to take almost anything except for that. So, yeah, at this point, we're also going to start to focus on techs that will just benefit our maulers for year 30 in whatever way we can. And that is fantastic. We could also start to take like these new planets here, and these planets would literally be used basically essentially just for pop growth. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. Although I also need to save up food for the arc furnace. Yeah, there's so many drains for food and so little sources. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move some pops from our energy planet here, right, which is doing well, to be honest. Also, we can go ahead and say the composer's immaculate, and just start getting attunement with them as fast as we can, and also start doing whatever tasks they can. And we get one of the best ones first. We get build an outpost, one of the absolute easiest. We get a nice chunk of the unity from making contact with them too, and we just establish an embassy. And don't be hostile with your first contact, as it will be helpful for gaining attunement with the cradle. And even if you're friendly with them, you can go ahead and attack them anyway, as long as you don't have packs, right? So yeah, that's a pretty funny thing about AIs, is you can really farm them in single player, which is, I mean, poor AIs, I guess. But also, this is about time. We're going to drop Constructobot here, and we're going to take on catalytic processing. I forget what it's called exactly, organic retrofitting. And yeah, we just need 1600 unity. I probably shouldn't have adopted that, so we're going to have to wait like 2 or 3 months, but that is perfectly fine. Perfectly fine amount of time to wait. And I think we can just build a city district, right? Get these a little bit more efficient. And I think our food world is still upgrading, so That's the most important thing, right? Keep that food world upgrading. We can hold tech, we can hold whatever, just can't hold the food. Um, can't hold the food. Okay, so don't get copyrighted. Okay, not like my singing would be nearly good enough to get anything copyrighted because I think it would be good enough to get the video to 0 viewers, but yeah, I mean I enjoy singing, just not my forte. Definitely not my forte. Especially anything where you have to hit high notes. Yeah, a little tough there. A little tough. Yeah, we definitely have a good amount of energy now, which is nice to see. A big lack of minerals, which is expected to see. And I guess we could build a drone storage here. We'll probably need that at some point. And let's continue to see what the next thing is. Establish a colony. Nice. That's pretty easy. That is going to happen in a few years, so that's pretty good. What do I want here? These are all pretty sad. Let's just take something that's cheap and roll that tech over as fast as we can. Let's take some military-based tech. And let's also, I think at this point, we should have enough Unity to reform this, right? Yes, we do. To organic retrofitting. And one of my favorite parts about playing Gestalt is you don't have to redo your council. And now we're negative on food, which is one of the reasons I said never stop developing your food world. You will regret it. So, food. I think we should add some pops to this food world just from our energy world. That should be more than satisfactory. Once again, disable your logistics drones. The game just heckin' loves logistics drones. I do not know why. And oh, we get tier 2, which is beautiful. And also, I guess I think it's this time that we start developing a what's it called? An alloy world too. So this can be an alloy world. We just need the minerals, and as you can see, we no longer lack minerals, right? So that's amazing. We do lack food though. However, it's getting better, right? We went from negative to positive already. Resource silos are great. I just like them as a tech. Do I need them? No. Do I like them? Yes. So we take them. And we start to build allies. I think we're probably a little late on this ally planet, to be honest, thanks to our horrendously poor mineral situation, but we can definitely catch up on that. And one thing we can also do that I haven't done yet is, have we found the Shroud Teacher? I think we should have, right? Yeah. You can go here, wish to commune, and we can, wait, is this the right button? We seek mastery with the Shroud. We wish to seek further attunement, and then Composer. And that should get us closer to the 600 attunement we need. And we're very close now, right? So as soon as we get to 600, then we can build a nice building on our capital that will increase the efficiency there quite a bit, which is obviously very nice. And meanwhile, as well, we can just continuously try to build up this planet. 221 energy seems pretty excessive, and it kind of is, so that's why we're going to be moving some of those pops over to our farming world as soon as that is valid to do. Except we'll also be burning a lot of energy very soon once we start upgrading this arc furnace. This arc furnace is coming along so slowly. The food situation has just not been nice to it. And yeah, this is why I think it's important to not neglect your basic resources too much. It is a very common thing I see where like newer players like to run 0 basic resource economies, where every single basic resource is like close to 0 or like 40 minerals and like 0 energy and that kind of thing. And the end result is that you actually scale slower than somebody who has a bit of a margin to work with, and is not playing, I guess, fully optimally for the thing they're trying to min-max, but has like room for error, right? And yeah, you just end up scaling faster. And like right now we're only 667 tech, which is not good for year 22 with this build. Like I'd say 800 would be good for year 22. But we're not worried about that because it's more important to get our basic economy back online so we can actually scale quickly than it is to hyper focus on the fact like, oh no, we are slightly behind in tech compared to where we normally would be. Oh no, we're gonna have like 20 less maulers. You know what I mean? Like, it's not too hard also to defend because somebody who's attacking you has to fly over into your empire with that ships, and those like 2 to 3 years that it's gonna take in the early game is a lot of time to build up extra defenses, and then when they disengage and re-engage, then If you had the basic economy to continuously scale during that time, you'll come out ahead in a lot of wars, especially if you don't fight aggressively. If you want to play aggressively, then you're going to have to be even more on top of your timings and probably have to give up even more tech in order to focus more on other resources. Right, and now that my minerals are really good, I should definitely be building up stuff faster. I've just been kind of yapping away instead of concentrating on scaling, but you know how it is. Um, you know how it is. We definitely love some yapping. Basically, I'm currently trying to keep the process of trying to like. I'm not a very scheduled person, so I'm gonna be trying basically to upload semi-daily, right? So every other day at the minimum for a while, and kind of just see how that works out. And um, I hope you guys are enjoying the videos, right? And I'm definitely enjoying making them. So thanks a lot for tuning in, I guess, right? Uh, but yeah, it's definitely not. It doesn't feel normal for me to do something like even like regularly like this. So definitely a bit of an experiment. So let's keep it going, I guess. And what are we at year 23? 667 tech is so bad for year 23. I'm a bit ashamed of myself, to be honest. I have way too much energy and not enough of anything else. It's because I don't have enough food to get my arc furnace going because I took too long to colonize this world because of bad basic economy management. Let's go ahead and move some energy credit workers over. Let's try to move the ones that have better habitability, I guess. And let's get them to focus on the food. And now we should be looking a lot better. Now we should be looking a lot better. Let's take analytical too, and get this going, and also get the shroud observation tower going. We really need biological techs now, right? Because we're really far behind. I believe we don't even have tier 2 maulers, and we need to start building by like 26 or 27 at the latest. So there we go. There's the first mauler. What is our tech now? Why did I cancel this? Let this finish. Because our basic economy is good now, right? It's basically fixed. We just need to keep up with the buildings, keep up with these. Let's build up the exotic resources as well because we're gonna need those in large amounts sooner or later. Yeah, gases is perfect for upgrading this, right? Which we're also gonna need. And 1.2 thousand food drones is more like it. Now we're making good progress. One thing I've learned is you don't want to build the crop development hub. You actually want to build double hydroponics, except when you have way too few districts on your food world. In which case you do need to build a crop. Like if you have like say 7 or 8, I would build farming supports and then max out the districts with 2 hydroponics, and that would probably end up making more food. And we're negative on trade again. This is kind of the mid-game struggle of this build, I will say. We can even sell a bit of alloys, as I think we're a little ahead on alloys now, to be honest. And awesome, we also just got some extra attunement here, so I think immediately we want to go here and build a Sanctum of the Composer, which is really nice. And also, I think we're really close, right? So let's see what's the next task. Construct 2 outposts. Beautiful. So that's very easy. 2 outposts. Let's even do this one simultaneously. I think this arc furnace should be going. Have I not been building this arc furnace? I haven't been building the little things. Oh my god, I'm playing so bad. I'm sorry for this, but yeah, just do keep in mind that whatever power I get on this build, it could be a lot better if a better player was playing it, right? So, yeah, I'm sure you can see way more awesome numbers than what I'm about to do. Which is a good thing for the build, right? It means there's a lot of room to improve, and you guys can go play it better than me and have fun doing that, I guess. Meticulous calculations is fine here, and wow, yeah, we're really not doing good on Mauler tech, eh? Really not doing good on that. At least we're doing good on food, right? Definitely gonna have more food than I would say I would normally have with this build at this time, which is definitely a good thing. So we'll take that, I guess. Let's also move some of those energy credit workers over to this planet here. And I think we can even move some from our capital, as I believe our capital has quite a few excess drones. And there we go. That means we can start this capital building and increase the amount of gases we're getting, because I need those gases to upgrade the food building. And yeah, the food building is just so important, right? So let's go ahead also and designate this as a food planet because I don't think we've done that. And that'll give us a little bit of a bonus there as well. And we can finally start the automatic construction here. I should have done this ages ago, but I guess I just canceled it at some point and have been yapping so furiously that I never noticed that that was a problem. So let's go ahead and fix that here. We're also going to need to fix our consumer goods situation soon. So let's go ahead and build another civilian industry over here and then finish off supremacy as well. Yeah, basically you want to finish supremacy before year 30 so you can turn on the supremacist diplomatic stance before you get war decked on, and that gives you an extra, I believe, 20% naval cap and some other bonuses for any militarily based empires. I think this is also about now the time where, if you haven't already, it's time to build up your star bases, right? So I usually like to have at least 8 shipyards when playing bioships, as bioships build very slowly. So yeah, we're gonna build up like 8 of these and get ready for that situation. And also, we're also ready to delve again. So, oh, on our last delve, did we not get Opera Shroud Shaper? We didn't. So that's relatively unlucky, not a big deal. On the next one, we should be very, very likely to get it. And we finally get Elder Mauler as well, which is nice. Unfortunately, this time around, we are going to be working with tier 1 mandibles. If you're lucky enough, sometimes you have tier 2 mandibles. And of course, you know what I should have done is gone into the fleet design here, and I forget what kind of tech is mandibles. Mandibles are torpedo components, so that must be. Yeah, I also don't know what research category that falls into. We should have been on the whatever that research category is. It's general studies, material voidcraft, propulsion, industry. I'm honestly not exactly sure. We're gonna have to wait. No, I'm gonna look it up. All right, mandibles are under materials research, so yeah, we should have had that on for sure. I think that would also, I believe arc furnace is under materials, right? Oh, it's under materials or industry. I forget at this point. Um, yeah, but I guess the tech tree is always a very useful resource, right? So if you ever doubt, go ahead and look up the tech tree, I guess. Yeah. Also, yeah, this is what I mean, man. It's so annoying to prioritize both. In the meantime, though, I think as soon as we get these other starports having at least one shipyard, then we can go ahead and start building ships, I think. And what happened to our edict cap? Well, I think we can turn off mining subsidies because we're not mining very much anymore. So we can get rid of that, sell some of this, sell some of alloys. I don't want to sell alloys, but like, what else do I have? Yeah, this is the trade, and immediately first roll mandibles. Wow, it looks like when you use skill to play the game, you immediately get rewarded. Who could have guessed? So we're gonna wait for that tech to finish and just build ships with exclusively the tier 2 mandibles because I think that's just a good idea. And also, we can go ahead and just continue to build up this heavy industry planet now. Let's put some more rare resources on it after we double up the effectiveness there. And yeah, we're honestly looking pretty good, to be honest. Once we can afford this, you know what? We're so negative on trade. I'm just going to buy the extra amount of trade we need to buy this anyway. And yeah, I wonder what we can sell to sustain this. Let's sell an extra 0. Let's sell 15 of those. Let's sell like 10 alloys. Let's sell like 20 energy credits. Let's sell like 20 food. Let's just sell a little bit of everything, you know. Let's sell like actually we can't sell minerals because then I'll run out. So there we go. And there's the extra civic slot as well. This is a 19-month research. I just realized. Do we have time for that? Not really. Whatever. You know, this is yeah, not really, you know. Like, okay, if we want to be faithful to a year 30 build, let's start building now. So let's go ahead and start building. So let's go ahead and do Maulers. Very unfortunately, we have to use the terrible text that we, like, because we failed to get anything good because we skill issued. And at least we have tier 2 barb cannons, you know, at least that's something. And let's just autofill the rest. As long as it gives you afterburners, that's good. And just want to make sure you have this set to juvenile. That way you can make sure you have the growth gland. swarm computers and just give it a name. Yeah, this is a very like bait thing. If it's on Elder, you can't put the growth component slot, so you have to slide it over to this to make sure it has the growth component, because sometimes the game won't give you the growth component, and then your ships will grow extremely slowly, if at all. Um, and right, I think I want to put at least one shipyard on each of these so that they spread out evenly instead of all stack on Yas. So let's go ahead and wait 180 days and then start building those. You might notice that our alloys are a bit lacking right now, but it's going to double very soon, right? So as soon as that's done, what we can do is just resettle some of the pops over from, both our home world and planets that aren't doing much for us anymore, like this one, over on over, and there we go. Now we have a decent source of alloys. We have an excellent source of food, and we should be scaling very, very well now. And despite the skill issues with the arc furnace, the skill issues with not selecting techs with our with our tech focuses there, we still should be perfectly fine. And even though it'll be relatively weak for year 30, I would guess we're going to end up with something like 8K at year 30, maybe not even. I'm not too worried, because if somebody were to attack us, they'd probably have like 15K, and after a few combat engagements and disengagements, and also fighting over our friendly star bases, which can add a few K, and you can add something like a disruption field generator or something like that for some extra power. Overall, you tend to come out on top when you are defensive. So, are those things done? Yeah, they are. So let's go ahead and start building now. Let's just select the juvenile maulers of the fleet class you want and start building. And yeah, this fleet says 8K. I think it'll be a little more than that once they start upgrading themselves as well. So that is very, very nice. Let's also just check on some of our colonies here. Yeah, they always do this thing where for some reason they love the worst possible jobs instead of the best ones. I think the game would be a lot better if they just fixed the job prioritization. Like if there's just a straight hierarchy, like we do not want hunter seeker drones, we do not want logistics drones, like because the AIs kind of play the same way as your planet's auto managed, right? Which is a bit of a shame. They play a little bit better because they use automation. I hate automation since 4.0. I think it doesn't work very well. But if you're good at using it, it's probably fine, right? I'm just not very good at using it. So yeah, let's also get this last arc furnace tier, as this will basically cover our minerals and tech pretty well. What do I even sell here? Like, I guess like some consumer goods, some energy. And yeah, basically what we're doing is the trade seems unsustainably bad, but it is actually completely fine as soon as you're able to take logistics as your fourth pick. If you're a little bit better on Unity than where I am, because I was overcapped on my edict fund by such a crazy amount earlier, I can turn Fortify the Border off as well. We can turn Fleet Supremacy on, to be honest. And just put battle simulators also in all of our star bases that are important. This should give us a small but noticeable bonus. Yeah, we should be doing quite well. Let's just go ahead and just keep queuing ships as well. And yeah, we're actually lacking in alloys and ahead on food, which is rare. I would say when I play this build, I normally have the opposite problem. I've tested it a couple times now, and I usually have too much of alloys and not enough food, so let's try to solve that a little bit as well. Increase our alloy output quite a bit will be very, very nice, although I'm sure we'll have uses for this food as well. And we can even start to push a little bit more tech as well on our capital. By deleting the districts we're not using, like these food districts, we won't be using those for very long. So we can start replacing those with central nexus districts and getting a better source of food, which is really nice. Tier 2 alloy would be very huge as well. And wow, our trade situation is brutal now that we have fleets. I think that the play is honestly to just brutally sell some of these resources. Like, right, it feels terrible. I understand, but we need to float the economy just until we're able to start employing more jobs into logistics drones, right? So on some of these planets, right, we can just enable all logistics drones. We can just start enabling them all over the planets. And honestly, we can just lend from our energy. 11K energy will last quite a while. So we can also just yeah, allow some of those to filter out of those. And I think also readopting Constructobot at this time could be quite helpful. So let's go ahead and readopt Constructobot now, and now we should be doing fine. We should be doing just fine, or we should be doing fine enough, right? Like, yeah, how long until the next thing? Yeah, only 446 Unity is a bit mid, I do have to say, but it's fine. It is fine, and yeah, let's take a look at our fleet. 3K currently, and probably still a bunch of ships building. Like, let's take a look at the queue. Yeah, there's quite a bit of a queue, so we're definitely going to be at like 8 to 10K at some point during year 30. Not as much as we hope for, but still not bad. The trade situation is just so ugly to look at, though. The alloy situation definitely could be better as well, but that is going to be resolved quite quickly, and we can. We haven't even given this planet a designation. On the resource you're lacking the most, you can even do an ascension. Oh, I just realized that's going to delay our trade fix. Oops. And that could help quite a bit. You know what? Who needs energy, right? We can build this energy planet back up a little bit to help with that. So yeah, we're honestly doing fine. One thing you might also notice is that the naval capacity is not very high. So at this point, you're going to want to just go over cap on your starbase capacity by just a little bit. And oh yeah, also we can forge our own path now, which is really nice. And go ahead and immediately start the Shroud Shaper thing. And that is, you essentially want to convert this old mineral world into a planetary defense planet. And yeah, these planetary defenses will then start to provide us with naval cap as we run out of naval cap from other means. And yeah, we can just go ahead and continuously queue up more ships as well. As you can see, now that we're in year 30, we're at 5.7k and increasing rapidly as we have ships queued in probably most of these star bases, or most of these shipyards. Yeah, and as they merge, we're gonna get more and more powerful. And I'm kind of curious, are we able to declare a tributary war already? Not yet, right? So we're probably a couple years away from that. And since we have such a big surplus of food, this is actually the way we'd rather have it, is you can go ahead and queue up a few thousand food worth of armies so that if you do want to go invade somebody, you have the armies to go do so immediately. And let's also go ahead and build up central nexus districts so we can start to move some or put less pops into this world and more pops, say, into our alloy world or our like energy world or something, right? We're negative 200 energy now, which is definitely not fantastic. But once these start filling back up, I'm sure we'll be fine. We just needed a bit of a solution to our trade in the meantime, or we would have some problems for sure. Fleet management, let's go ahead and also just continuously keep building these up. I'm kind of curious, what do we have now? Yeah, it's like 8k to 10k. Yeah, that's kind of the amount I kind of expect is 10k. I'm sure 20 is possible with a better player. I'm just not the best, to be honest. Oh my god, not the trade again. Not the trade again. Let's sell some motes, I guess. Sell some motes, that should help. And oh yeah, the arc furnace should help as well. I just got a voice crack, what the hell. Anyhow, 929 tech, 100 alloys, 600 food, right? This is not like horrific year 30 numbers. Especially considering that this build also scales quite hard, especially once the Shroud Shaper situation finishes. 8 months left for that, which is definitely not too bad. We can also just put some more minerals into upgrading that. And 9k fleet at year 31, not the worst, not the best. Yeah, we'll just keep clicking on that as well. How is our alloys going? Just fine, I guess. We still have maintenance drones here, right? So that means we actually have a lot of upgrades to go. We can also probably, once we get some more pops, like start to put down the helpful buildings, right? The Metallurgic Research Lab, the Resource Processing Center, that will give us just extra pop efficiency for metallurgists and that kind of thing when we have the chance. And also, I should have done this way earlier. I should have hired the Shroud Shaper leader. I completely forgot. Would you be willing to send us a teacher? We wish to learn. Yes, 2,000 energy credits. Yes, it would be way cheaper if I bought it earlier. Once again, so many things I can optimize, and I immediately roll assembler as well, which means I could have had like 15% more assembled pops on this planet. So many skill issues, and I'm sorry for that. Um, but it also just shows, right? Like, if you are willing to put the time in and get better, right? I am trying to push out these videos in relatively fast time frames, so I don't have time to practice these or learn the exact build orders I should be taking. As I kind of want to share the general ideas of these builds before figuring out everything to a maximum amount. And yeah, as soon as you get the Shroud Forged event, this is where you really start to scale hard. No Tributary War Goal yet. And Fleet Designer. Oh yeah, one thing we should be doing at this point is upgrade this to a Starhold, and we really want these ships on a service umbilical, because a minus 25% output is definitely huge. Control hub. Nope, we don't want them on our control hub. Scientist, commander. Ooh, those are not good options. Okay, which one of these scientists is not very high level? Almani is level 3. Ralphkin is level 3. So we'll go with Almani, I guess. And they can be our Shroud Shaper. And they can be like an analyst or something, right? So that's not a terrible leader class, I guess. Usually want to put the Shroud Shaper on a Governor class leader. And you get better value from that. But unfortunately, we aren't very lucky with that. So not a huge deal. Look at our trade situation. Let's sell the rest of those. Fleet Manager, build more of these. And yeah, essentially at this point, we are 6 months of Unity away from solving this trade issue, right? Because extra 2 trade from logistics drones is definitely like no joke, because we have quite a few logistics drones across the Empire now, just on random planets, right? In random places. And when you add them all up, it's a lot, right? And yeah, that's going to be very, very helpful. And yeah, at this point, we're scaling up. 15k fleet, right? We have a bunch of subsidies available to us. We can even, how is our rare resource situation, right? Yeah, we have enough positive of each to, turn on some basic edicts as well. And I don't remember what kind of edicts you need for mandibles, to be honest. It's probably something not too hard, but declare war. There we go. And now we can tributize, so we're going to select that immediately. We are going to sell off some just resources in general to keep our economy afloat here. And of course, I ran out of energy. Let's go ahead and fix that real quick. Oh, I don't think I have enough energy to fix that. No worries, no worries. Oh, we do have enough energy. Wow. Just moving just a few drones over is more than enough. Okay, nice. Good to see. This is a bit of a problem, but we'll work on that. We'll work on that for sure. Oh yeah, we don't need to prioritize those for sure. Go work logistics drones or something, or soldiers. We'll take either. Or they just hate being telepaths. I tell you, they hate being telepaths. And there we go. We're finally probably going to be looking better for that now. And let's just fly into their territory as well. We can turn on auto invade. And of course, we're running out again. Let's just sell some resources off temporarily to make our economy work as it gradually improves at this point. Yeah. Where do I have logistics drones available? So wherever I have logistics drones available, let's enable them, Let's enable them. At this point, you can go be a logistics drone if you really need to, I'll let the pops bounce themselves. That could work. And now we can also just go ahead and fly in. As you can see, we're over 1k tech. I would say when you fly equivalently sized fleets in, maulers will almost always win. As long as they're able to get into melee range. And the thing is, they have faster speed than most other ship types of a similar tech level. Which means they almost always do get into melee range. And once they get into melee range, you are just going to get completely obliterated. I have seen that there are some kiting designs that work. I have no idea how people pull that off. But yeah, that wasn't as much big of a margin of victory as I was expecting, to be honest. I guess I could have put a commander on that. I probably should have done that. I'm not even going to bother to retreat. I'm just going to go straight in for the kill at this point. Yeah, we took a little bit of damage there, probably more than necessary. I need some consumer goods. And our trade is positive. Look at that. It feels so good, doesn't it? I wonder if going logistics dip and then finishing supremacy would be a good idea, especially considering I forgot to even turn on supremacist agenda. Um, you know what? I have no idea if I'd rather expel or discard or the other one, so I'll just pick one. Let's go ahead and add more maulers. No, I don't want to craft mature maulers. I want to craft juvenile maulers. Why are I... Oh, I hate it when the fleet manager does that. It's when ships die, they want to replace the thing that was killed, and that can often be a mature mauler. So yeah, you do have to be careful about that. I wasn't, so I got punished for that. Anyhow, with the auto invade, like this tributization should be pretty straightforward. Um, and yeah, in the meantime, we can just continuously remember to restock. Basically, you want to deprioritize everything that is not a juvenile mauler, and that way, when you click reinforce, you'll only get juvenile maulers, I think. Yeah, if you click in this queue and you see not juvenile mauler, something got messed up, and it does happen, and I do it all the time. But yeah, just try not to have that happen to you, because then you'll be very sad. Then you will be very sad. And do we really need another civilian fabricator? That is definitely quite annoying. Oh, we got a metallurgical research lab also, and it's very soon this, which is nice. Yeah, we can start to upgrade all these capitals already, which is also really nice. Oh yeah, this is finally the 200 extra assembly drones. My voice is really drying out. But I guess we're just going to finish off this war, get to year 40. Right, I'd say year 40 is a really good benchmark timing in a regular game of Stellaris, right, to show kind of the bridge between mid and late game. If you haven't scaled by year 40, the build you're playing is probably relatively weak in the meta. And if you have a decent fleet, and wow, yeah, the Maulers are not the best against star bases, I guess. Not a huge deal, as yeah, we can just overwhelm them with pure numbers, I guess. Yeah, don't make random mature Maulers. I'm sure it will. Still, let's just keep recruiting the juvenile ones and let them grow up, you know. And yeah, we'd obviously be a lot stronger if we weren't fighting in a war as well. But the scaling from taking a Grand Admiral tributary is obviously very nice, especially since we built the 1K fleet as well, or not the fleet, the 1K ground army. It just seems like it'd be too good to turn down a little tributary here. And as you can see, as our reinforcement ships slowly catch up to our main fleet as well, it's still gaining power despite taking big damage. It's also just getting Admiral class leader there, I guess. Strengthen that up a little bit, and they should forfeit after the next invasion, I believe. And we can also delve again. At this point, we should try to commune with the other Shroud entities, get those extra telepaths on extra planets. You know how it goes. We also get telepaths per pop. This will be changed for telepaths per leader level in the future, which is fine. That essentially just means you have to take statecraft, which is not a big deal. I would say definitely won't hurt a build like this too much, although it will change the power scaling and the exact things you would want to do. Yeah. And let's see if this... Oh, we might need to invade one more planet here. Why is this not invading? Armies. There's literally no armies on this planet. Can you invade it? Oh, it's because there's hostiles. Okay, I see. And now those should go invade. And that should probably tip them over the edge here. Acceptance of -1. The nice thing about AIs is they always accept on any amount that is positive, unlike players, where you often have to wait for the war to peace out. And there we go. A Grand Admiral tributary by year 35. Very nice. And we were playing for like a year 30 timer, right? So, very, very nice. Hopefully the ships we're building are actually being built with the tier 2 mandible at this point. But yeah, we can just go ahead and... I hate it when it does that. Just keep spamming these out at this point. And yeah. We also get, you know, intel of all the other like nearby AIs and stuff. And as you can see, they're all going to be equivalent pathetic at this point. And you can do whatever you want at this point. You can go run them over. You can just go scale in your own space. It's really up to you. Like at this point, essentially all you really need to do is you can change this research district over here over to a society specialization. You'll look for terraforming technologies, right? So ones that give you machine worlds. And then once you put machine worlds down, you will scale to not infinity, but you'll scale extremely hard, and you know no AI will ever be able to touch you for a long time in the game. And then you can also balance out your research with other ones to get mega engineering and all that. So yeah, I mean at this point in the game, should be pretty self-explanatory. Your basic, economy is also completely saved by having a tributary, so you can focus way more on, alloys or whatever you happen to need. So yeah, just go out there, have fun, um, build up some huge fleets, do whatever you want, and hopefully you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.